Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya Kwanza is in panic. An international organization working very closely with IEBC insiders yesterday released their results showing that Raila Odinga actually won the 2022 general election. According to their figures, Raila Odinga garnered 8.1 million votes against William Ruto's 5.9 million votes. Wafula, Chebukati and IEBC had declared William Ruto the President of the Republic of Kenya by 7.18 million votes against Raila Odinga 6.94 million votes. In this video, I want us to look at two main things. The first thing I want to look at is briefly what these guys are saying. And then in the second part, I'm going to explain the implication of their findings. Because I've actually been wondering why William Ruto would, from nowhere, wake up and start defending Wafula, Chebukati and IEBC as if something was cooking. Indeed, William Ruto, just like madman, was running without anybody chasing him. That's why he was busy defending Wafula, Chebukati. But before we get into all those details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. So please, I want to thank you for your support. Drop a comment. Now, let me just go through Dennis Itumbi Facebook page, because yesterday, Jeremiah Kioni actually addressed the press. Today, Azimio leaders led by Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Oparanya, Junet Mohamed, Jeremiah Kioni also addressed the press, and they indicated that once Raila Odinga lands into the country from South Africa, another bombshell is going to be unleashed. Let me just go through Itumbi. Itumbi posted something here that Vanguard Africa and Jeffrey Smith, the Azimio whistleblowers, are nothing but Raila Odinga strategists abroad. Vanguard Africa is a regulatory document filed in USA and signed by Jeffrey Smith, confirmed they offered Raila campaign advice. So which means this group is actually strategist, and in case they offered Raila Odinga advice, it means they are credible enough to release this data. And I don't want to get into all those details because things are going to unfold. Raila Odinga has always promised Kenyans that he will speak. He was still waiting for these other guys to speak. So let us wait and see what Raila Odinga will bring. And in Azimio's press statement, which they released, and I'll do a comprehensive analysis, let me just show you very briefly their statement, what their statement is saying, very briefly, just a few paragraphs, so that you don't waste a lot of time. The statement says, yesterday, Kenyans and the world woke up to the startling revelation of the 2022 presidential election results by IEBC whistleblowers. The data released by the whistleblower is a bombshell that compels every Kenyan of goodwill to ask themselves if indeed we still have a democracy. According to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, the data calls into questions the outcome of the presidential elections and the credibility and legitimacy of our entire electoral system and infrastructure. Azimio One Kenya leadership, with its members, will fully deliberate and discuss this data and provide the country with the next course of action. They are saying there are more revelations in our possession that will unearth the filth in the 2022 general election. This was not an election but a sham. We want to commend the IEBC whistleblowers who now enjoy full protection under the law for bringing this to the public. These are the real heroes. The whistleblowers are gallant Kenyans and patriots who have taken this action at a great risk to themselves and set an excellent example of the true meaning of patriotism. I'm going to do another comprehensive analysis about that particular statement. But for now, let's just go very brief. But for now, let us just go through this whole whistleblower statement and the implication very briefly. They are saying so many things. I hope most of you guys have read that statement. If not, I'm going to share the link so that you can access the link, read, then you'll understand. They're saying that Form 34B results from 46 constituencies were never transmitted. Then the question is, which forms were really transmitted if 46 constituencies were never transmitted? I remember by the time IEBC were making the announcement, 26 constituencies had not transmitted their results. They are also saying that a total of 3,996 Form 34As never received. You know, Form 34As were the ones which were being filed at the polling stations. According to them, 3,986 were never received, which means the ones which were received were actually fake. Another thing they are saying is that some constituencies transmitted more than 2 Form 34As, Form 34As of Book 2. So remember, Wafula Chebukati in his schemes printed Form 34A, Book 1, and then Form 34A, Book 2. So in case where Book 1 was not there, it was easy to just use Book 2. And that's why they are saying some constituencies transmitted more than 2 forms. So this form was submitted, another form was submitted. And they're saying that there is evidence, they have evidence, that more than 1,000 unregistered users send results from outside Kenya, either from Uganda, whichever. So Raila Odinga will release all this. But let us wait for that up to now. What I don't know, and this is the biggest question I'm asking, what next for Raila Odinga? If this is true, can he put himself in State House? It's not possible. What about Ruto? Why is he bitter? Why is he angry? Is it because of this information which is coming out? And Jeremiah Kioni and the group today said that the whistleblowers are actually being threatened, that government officials are already going to IEBC trying to look for these specific individuals who blew the whistle. But let us look at the implication. What does this new revelation mean for us as a country? Number one, let us look at William Ruto's politics in Mount Kenya. If you've been following William Ruto of late, there's something which is bothering him. And William Ruto is now trying to focus his attention in Western Kenya. Have you ever asked yourself why he's doing that? The answer to that is right inside this report. If you go through this report, majority of discrepancies were found in the mountain. That there are actually several counties in the mountain, for example, Kiambu and Kirinyaga, where Azimio actually won the votes. But those votes never counted. So William Ruto, in my view, understands that the figures which IEBC gave him are not the actual figures in the mountain. That the mountain is not really what is being projected. And therefore, for him to be safe, because it will mean that if we were to go for another election, people will now focus on the mountain. And because the figures he received were not the actual figures, he knows that the only option then is to look for votes elsewhere. That is why he's trying to go to Western Kenya. And that's why he's elevating Musalia Mudavadi. So that in case anything will happen, then the mountain, the votes from the mountain will be compensated with the votes from Western Kenya. So I'm trying to look at William Ruto, and I really sympathize with him in case these figures are true, that getting Western Kenya will also be a tall order for him. So that's the first implication. The second implication is credibility or the legitimacy of William Ruto's presidency. You know, William Ruto won the presidency according to IEBC. The Supreme Court was compromised and they made their ruling the way they did. And of course, by that, William Ruto is the duly elected president of the Republic of Kenya. But William Ruto has been looking for legitimacy. That legitimacy has been always put to question. But he was lucky when he went to Nyanza, and the leaders from Nyanza embraced his presidency. But now with this information coming out, it means there are Kenyans who will not view Ruto as really the guy who won. Because let us wait for what Raila Odinga will unveil. Whatever Raila Odinga will unveil will actually shape whether Kenyans will take William Ruto as the legitimately elected president, or they'll take it as a president who imposed himself on Kenyans. So this particular information, revelation, is going to dent William Ruto's legitimacy. And probably that's why he's been trying so hard that this election was the best. You know, Wafula, Chebukati, and William Ruto, they have been blowing their own trumpet as far as the IEBC is concerned. And number three, the third implication would be on Wafula Chebukati himself. William Ruto has been trying so hard to sanitize Wafula Chebukati, to make Wafula Chebukati appear as a hero. What will happen if indeed some of these whistleblowers will come out publicly and say, I'm so and so, I was doing this, and this is exactly what transpired. If you doubt, these are the evidence. Anybody with the other contrary opinion, let them show. Because the problem is that Azimio slept on the job. That is the truth. If Azimio had not slept on the job, for example, they would be having copies of Form 34As, copies of Form 34Bs. What they explained today is that by the time of going to the Supreme Court, they had not collected some of this evidence, which now they have. But again, as long as they have them, they don't have any avenue of prosecuting that matter in court. But it will really dent the image of Wafula Chebukati, which William Ruto is really trying to sanitize. And the fourth implication is the question about who is leaking these details. Who is leaking them? If it's an insider, what is his objective? Is it possible that certain people or NIS within the system who are with Uhuru Kenyatta managed to gather this information, and now they are not happy with Ruto, are the ones leaking? Is there a chance that that's why William Ruto and the team were not comfortable with Cherera and the group remaining while Chebukati and Boya, Molu, and the other Guliye guy leaving? So let us wait. But who is leaking this information? Those are the questions. And that is a question which I know is really bothering William Ruto and the group. And the last question is, what is Raila Odinga's game plan? Raila Odinga has maintained that he was waiting for the gospel according to St. John. Because the gospel according to Lesapit already out. The gospel according to Chebukati is also out. Then he was waiting for the concept, I think the gospel according to St. John, who is Ruto, which is probably out. Now it is time. What next for him? Because Raila Odinga has been very funny of late. It's not very clear on how he's going to do it. But I try so hard to monitor Junet Mohammed. Junet Mohammed avoided Raila Odinga's, William Ruto's visit to Nyanza. He was with Kioni the other day when Raila Odinga met with the international community. He was again today in Kalonzo Musyoka Center. So let us wait and see how all this thing is going to unfold. But it's definitely going to shape the politics of this country moving forward. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.